Hello everybody, this is Frogman. Welcome back to IXION. It's been quite a bit of a time since I've actually sat down and played this game, so let's get back into where we were in the last episode. We did some, well, we finally got out of the previous section of trying to save the protagonist and do a few things and get a bunch of stuff explored into the previous system, and then we moved forward once we found out the signature transfer thingy, whatever destination point for the Etemenanki, or the ship that attacked the protagonist from the UN, from the UN, and we moved into this system, which after the end of last episode, yes, we did a little bit of research. We've looked at a few things. We're going to continue on looking through some of these what we have found available. I just wanted to say that, again, at the end of last episode, I stated we were going to do a little bit of work, and I have since, kind of wandered around and done a little bit of just at least mining. We needed to be able to mine. We needed to be able to do a few things. I've also thawed out the majority of the people that we had by building a few more things, building a few more houses. We've upgraded the majority of our houses. We put in a few other things. We've also done a little bit of science, so we can touch on that as well. There's also been an update in between this and the last time we played, or at least last week, which, again, the last time I played, I sat down and I put, I think, 3 or 4 episodes out. So it's been a little while, and again, I had to kind of sit down today to kind of remember how in the heck to play this game because, well, it is what it is. But anyhow, we need to go inside and check a few things out. The first main section, again, everything that was an optimized quarter is now being built into the dometic quarter. It's just going to be able to allow us to house a whole bunch more people. We have since kind of changed out Sector 1 slightly. I've moved the storage for our corpuscles, and the cryogenic system has been moved to the center from where it was over here, and we've since placed in another probe launcher, which will be very handy. At least for now, we can kind of continuously shoot probes whenever we feel like it, and because of that, this sector is now specialized in space.
Accident has occurred in the Tiqqun.
Tier 2, and again, we've continuously had accidents since the way that this is going on. Now, Space Tier 2 is a big deal for you when you're playing this game because of the fact that it will allow you to do a couple of things. One of which is you'll only ever really need 3 EVA airlocks from then on. These will be able to keep up with the hull integrity production system because of the fact that we look in here on the hull repair right now, we're at 100 plus 128, means we're at 44% balance per cycle from now on. Generally, we shouldn't need any more of that as long as we go in further. Now, we will be moving some of this stuff here very, very shortly because my next goal while we play today is we're going to crack open a new sector so we can specialize in doing some other things. But again, it's a big deal for you to try to get a single sector specialized in Space Tier 2. Again, hull is 10% more efficient. Probes and ships are assembled 30% more faster. Hull repair is 20% more efficient. This is the Space Tier 2 portion. And the docking bays can load and unload things 30% faster. I'm not going to fool with a lot of more things. I know that there's a couple of things we could do. I mean, we could set up working hours to be intense, and buildings require 50% more researchers. There's some other things that we could do. I think the thing that I want to do eventually, and that's going to be once we move a few things around, is we're likely going to be moving the cryopods going forward into a different area. We're already at almost 2,500 people. I think we came into this sector with about 1,000. And like I said, I've started to just continuously crank out people. Let's go over to the section over here. The domotic quarters have been, these all have been set up to do this, and I have built a bunch of the cell housing, mainly because of the fact that we're going to start housing, just the randos and the people that don't necessarily need to be in certain things in here. So I've got enough room again for at least another 162 there, and we're 162 there and 162 there. I'm just going to be slowly moving people out of this sector again into this sector. Now, there has been, I guess let's go talk about the last sector. I don't believe we did a whole heck of a lot in here other than the quarters are set up and we have our recycling systems running reasonably well. I did go ahead and build another layer of solar panel. I forget which one it was. I believe it's this one right here. So that should be, I think this one goes on the back. let me see. This is the front. This is the front. Yes. There you can see it's those right there. Those extensions right here are the difference, and we will continue to kind of build those out as we go. Right now, I don't need the power. The big thing that I have been doing in between episodes is doing research, and this is something that I want to talk about very, very, very quickly before we go on into the next thing. There are some very, oh my goodness, let me get out of that loud sector. There are some very, very important researches that you probably should look at as soon as you possibly can playing while you're at it. Some of which is, it's kind of a commonsensical kind of deal, especially when it comes to food production and food, serving. Getting your mess hall up to where it's at a level 4 or all 4 upgrades unlocked makes a massive difference on the amount of food that you need to produce to keep your people happy. And it also changes the ability to be able to say that every single mess hall will be able to, feed up to 1,400 people. Going through some of these things, especially that thing, one food can feed up to 100% more crew members per meal, 50% more crew members, 40% more crew members, 20% more crew members. Getting this up to that is getting the mess hall up to that level is such a massive difference, because it means that you don't necessarily have to produce as much food as you were before. Part of that is going to require you to do some of the researches in here in your crop farms and some of the other things as well. The anytime as well, we can go on with this anyway, but again, some of this is just the way that it works. Now, here's another thing that I'm going to say now that we have it on our scent. Anytime you say a Nahi quarter protocol that will allow you to create waste from the people living in either a quarter or a cell housing or an infrastructure or a machine or anything. Anytime you can get to that point where something will say, oh, it'll make 30% more waste, is a big deal.
An accident has occurred in the
If you're
Tiqqun.
looking at trying to be self-sufficient in the long run on this game, because waste treatment centers, again, that's how we produce something, and especially it's probably about the cheapest, easiest way to make a reasonable amount of electronics, but it's a way of being able to, if you're one of those kinds of people that are okay to just sit there and let the game run, once you hit this chapter or the chapter prior, if you can become self-sufficient, and I mean by self-sufficient in the fact that you either open up a water treatment center so that 50 waste will then fulfill the water treatment needs of an entire sector right here, or you run through what I've already stated there, whereas you get your, where are these guys right here, the mess hall. Get the mess halls up to as quick, as good as they possibly can, so you're feeding as many people as you possibly can from one mess hall, given the small amount of food that you're creating, which means you can, for that matter, feed people off of the insect farms. It is possible. The insect farms take an awful lot of power comparative to what we're doing now, but it is possible to continuously run water treatment centers without ice, which means you don't necessarily need ice in this sector to do those kinds of things. We're perfectly fine. We've got lots and lots and lots of ice right now. But again, it's kind of one of those deals that you can do. What I want to do today is, now that we've got all this other things going on, we're going to do a little bit of research. I should say we're going to do a little bit of paying attention to a few things outside. We're going to do some story, and we're going to crack this sector open. Actually, we're going to go ahead and do that right now. Another thing that I do want to say that's very important for those of you that are just going ahead and, using the resources available, is get these 3 things right here unlocked. That's 10% more resources from a deposit, 20% more resources from a deposit, and 30. And then, of course, 10% faster, 20% faster, 30% faster, and, well, that. Those 3 right there are going to make anything out here in the world last or give you a considerable amount more while you're playing. So, while we wait on that sector to unlock, it'll yell at us. I think it probably already did. Okay, cool. Let's pause and make sure that we don't have an issue going on out here. I'll get this set up in a second while we're going. They'll be fine. They won't. It's fine. It's fine. Let's click on the 3 things that we have looking at us right now and see what we can't do. And while we're at it, I also want to send out a probe to 3 locations, or 2 locations that I have been ignoring. One of which is going to be this one. And now that I have 2, I love this. It's at least 2. One of them is over here, and I've known where these are for a bit because I've been scanning all over the place. But we're looking for a couple of deals, one of which is going to be test the colonization protocols, and I believe likely if I click on that button and let it do the work, we'll see. So those two guys will run out, we'll get some things. Destroyed command center. This is the end of some of the things. So as the Etemenanki paused in the Crux system, it was surprised and attacked by the Piranesi. Reports indicate colossal casualties. The UN crew was able to find a flaw in the Piranesi's defenses and managed to mount a boarding assault. The Piranesi responded by firing its main weapon before fleeing the system. The last survivors of the attack, who could no longer enter cryopods, either died from the cold or slowly asphyxiated in the days that followed. Ouch. All right, now what we're still kind of trying to work through some of this stuff, so we'll go ahead and determine what its previous mission objectives were, or at least what this thing is. And then we'll go look over here at the collapsed food district. Now, this is one of those times when you're going to be looking at something. Last time we saw about this, that there was a bunch of cryopods, and of course this one owner has decided that instead of putting themselves into a cryopod, they put the dog into a cryopod. We're still going to kind of play around, but again, this is one of those things where bypassing security measures, you can go blah, 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 blah. We're going to bring the dog on board. We're going to bring the dog on board because why not, right? I mean, it just makes sense. The guy was kind enough to put the dog in the thing. We'll bring the dog on board. They'll have to do a few things. Yes, and I know they're not happy about that. Reactor wreckage. Now, we're finally getting some of these up. Now, this is an interesting thing. I already read this one. The Etemenanki's engines were not supported by a PA or even a basic AI. Instead, the crew members were constantly monitoring, adjusting, and repairing the engines and thrusters. Their living conditions were extremely precarious, and it would have seen many of them were either prisoners or rejects from the population on board the Etemenanki. Traces of writing were found within some of the dormitory cells, referring to genetic conatus and the Eschagantes. There are records of several serious breakdowns before the final explosion. Crew members would work waist deep in coolant, some dying while performing their tasks within the toxic substance. Those who refused were executed by their supervisors. There are millions of people floating around outside this thing. It's massive. And they couldn't figure out a way to make it any smarter than the ship we're on right now, given the amount of time that it took. Give me my science, please. And then we'll pause. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do right now is we're going to do a little bit more stuff. We're going to let all those pop back up. I'm going to kick this system open, and we're going to start building or thinking about building a thing in here for all of these recycling centers. These recycling centers, again, we're going to be using the most important resource in the game to continue to go forward, and that is going to be waste. And our waste producers are going to be farms, farms, machinery, things, and humans. So I'll be back once I get this other one opened up and ready to go. Or I should say, organized at least. Alrighty then, I think we've got it set up finally. At least I'm kind of working through things. We're going to kind of go with a little pattern, something simple as this, mainly because of the fact that I want the center point, through point area to be where we do all of our storage, or at least the storages for the stockpiles, and on the outside out here is where we will be placing these. Yes, I understand that is going to cause us a little bit of an issue because of the fact that we're going to have a little bit of wasted space behind these, but that's perfectly fine. If I can get, and this is the thing, if I can get a few of these down the line here, so we can get at least 4 across the bottom here, plus we'll be able to, if we so choose to do these back here, we'll be able to kind of shuffle things around and make this work a little bit better. So I think probably actually these will be down here. For right now, what I'm going to do is we're going to continue to kind of move things around and just get things set up, but I do want to move at least, well, I hate to say it, I want at least, we're gonna do a few things in here for sure. So we want at least 4 of these down in the bottom section, or I should say up here, because of the fact we have that sign. I can move all of this up here. This was where the clutter was the least amount of clutter was right here. So I put this stuff down here, which if we need to, we can move it back up there. Essentially what I want to do is I want to dedicate an entire sector, and I mean an absolute entire sector, to recycling. So at the end all be all, I want at least 6 of these, at least 6, maybe more of these recycling centers in this sector, along with whatever else it's going to take to keep them happy. To be fair, I think I actually need to kind of work. I'm waiting on this to empty so that I can put the thing over here. I'm going to move this one right here. These were the 2 free ones that you get when you first bring things in, so I want to make sure that I at least keep the 2 free ones. So we'll have a certain amount of food and then maybe like some, I don't know, whatever. Essentially what I want to do is I want to go back to making this an entire infrastructure section. So like this should be industry tier 1. If we can get an electronics factory in here and maybe another one of these in here, then this will be industry tier 2, which will give us some more usable functionality from that section. I want to dedicate an entire section to, like I said, recycling, so that we can kind of continue to go on. These things take how many a piece? So we need 60 more workers over here than what we currently probably have. Where are we? I went ahead and moved a few people already, so we're looking at 40. Let me shuffle. Can I house another? Let's do 60 more people for now. And workers from Sector 1 to Sector 3. We'll start that migration go. And then that way we can kind of move things around. I'm going to go ahead and move these over here, or should say we're going to start building those out right now. So let me see. Factories. Where's the front? So if I do this and that... If I remove that road, then I can put a storage space in between these things. This will also end up being our storage facility. We'll be keeping things like that in here. So let's not for a second there. No. Let's remove these roads on the ends because we won't need them. And then that'll give me a room enough to be able to do a couple of other things in here. So again, you go there. You go... I guess I didn't need to do that. I could have stacked it that direction. Yeah, whatever. We'll just do something cool like that. And then we'll build a road in. And then if I need to, I can stack in like batteries or whatever. Essentially what I want is I want to have everything in here kind of just like, say, all the major storages, I want them right in the center. So we should be able to do that again and then again. How is this so off? These things aren't exactly square. I think it's not an odd number in here. It's an even number or an odd number. They're not exactly what you think they are. So right there, given that point, now I'm going to move this one over. This is kind of how you end up doing things. You kind of end up screwing around going, nope, I don't like that. Nope, I don't like that. Nope, I don't like this. So that's going to give us room enough that if I want to, I can put another storage right there and a storage right there. All right, that will work for the moment. Yes, it'll be a little crooked. I don't really care. We're going to start with 4 of them, and as soon as this moves... we actually probably can start doing the trash in here as well. Let's I want the trash, like, I want it right there. So I may have to go ahead and move the food, or can we move food? Everybody should be, whoop, wrong way. Wrong way, wrong way. Everybody should be good on food. Yeah, we're making lots and lots and lots of food now, and we can definitely feed lots and lots and lots of people right now, so it's kind of the thing that I want to do. Let's see, we'll do, because all of these are getting ready to get shut off, so close, close, and close. Deconstruct, yes. Deconstruct, yes, and deconstruct, yes. And that's going to allow the trash to pile up, but this should be good to go in about 9 cycles, so we'll just let that kind of work for a minute there. We'll build all those. They can deconstruct these. It's fine for right now. Won't hurt anything. I mean, I guess I probably should just not. Let's not, at least on one of them. We'll let them rebuild it for right now. because we need to be running the trash anyway, otherwise all the trash will back up. We have to wait on a policy. I had to turn the propaganda on this one so it could work, but at least those will get built, and then we'll be able to do something with them. So let's go out here and do a little bit more storytelling. Okay, yes, that's what I was figuring. We were going to find a couple of things. So we did find another industrial zone wreckage that we knew about,
Population transfer complete.
thank you very much. Kruk P42 is a planet, and this planet is eligible for colonization testing. Data collection will help shape future Dolos initiatives. Do we have a spare science ship? No, we can't send a spare science ship out until we do a few things. There is going to be some things that we're going to have to be careful of in this sector, and you guys are going to see it probably in the next thing here. In the next couple of tries, we're going to be doing some things. There was one more that I want as well. All right. Let's start with the closest one here, the command center. All right, by powering the command center, the contacts team was able to extract and analyze core mission data. The Etemenanki was a UN ship initially launched to find other exoplanets. Early data logs from their voyage indicate a glaring lack of preparation to accomplish such a task. The absence of a habitable exoplanet, they seem to have concentrated on the search for what the UN had designated as enemies of humanity, the Dolos and the Ashtangentes, or something like that. By boarding the Protagoras, the Etemenanki was able to locate Remus. Yes, I'll take that. Thank you very much. 50 more research. We need to dump some research into some things, and then they're going to get a couple of things here. So let's see. Collapsed Food District. Administrator, I did not expect this decision. We remind you that Dolos regulations prohibit animals on board the Tiqqun. I do postulate, however, the animal's presence may be good for crew morale. All right, now we're going to move forward with a little bit of this. Now we need to go, there's several more things here, so make a cautious approach towards the self-contained area of which they were talking about, or invasively breach the, let's just pop a hole in that sucker, get it over with. Reactor wreckage. Investigate the engine supervision area. Yes, just keep looking. We want all the science. While we're at it, actually. While we're looking at it, while we're adding it, we're letting all these things go. All right, you're done. Now, this is where I'm going to say something that you're going to go, okay, well, we're going to find things. Hey, nice. Another planet that we can then look at and see is detect a signal originating from a chain of mountains that border an acidic ocean. That's interesting. This is where you're going to be scurry about this area. Again, when you look at this cloud, good Lord, they just, what? What do you want? What is your problem? Where are you?
Science ship team has completed a task.
What do you want? Oh, heh. Administrator, inconsistencies were detected within a crew member's DLS records. After retrieving the data, I found that this crew member is actually a dog, or a Borazi to be exact. I've not discovered how it came on board, and its mere presence violates several health protocols. I will say that it does seem to be proving extremely beneficial for crew morale. A decision must be made concerning the animal's fate. We'll just let him come on. Thank you for that one of those. That will get most of our sectors up to a happiness of 3, aside from this one, I think, which is a happiness of 3. No, we're good. So there are many, many ways of doing things, and we'll kind of continue to play on with that as we go. We're waiting on 2 cycles right here before we can turn on the waste protocols. You guys will be set all to this for the time being. Once they all come up, we will be producing mainly circuits because of the fact it's going to require quite a bit of circuits to continue building a lot of things, but we will start kind of doing a little bit more fun stuff as we move on. Anyhow, back out here now that we've got that sorted. Again, as I was stating, you're going to see something happen here that is going to probably make your little, I don't know, make something pucker up a little bit. Or at least that one didn't do it. Ah, there it goes. Yes. Every time you complete one of these, this cloud is going to move across this area. Now, depending on how much you care about your people, your ships, your friends, your stuff here, or any of your other ships for that matter, Like right now, these right there, I need to no and no and no. I mean, maybe that one we can let it have because it's not quite there. Anything that goes in this area, will be destroyed or will get seriously messed up. So part of what I wanted to do was try to harvest as much of the stuff that I can in here as we can. So that means we're going to have to kind of plan as to what we do in through this area. And again, we may just kind of run through a lot of this stuff, then we'll bring everybody back. And I'm going to start researching things for the Tiqqun so that we can get her to move quickly and efficiently. But with that last upgrade, or with that last deal, we were given some new areas to go investigate. These areas are going to be where we have to go, go to see things. So like I said, to prove the fact that this is dangerous, we're going to use a probe. And I'm going to go see what that is. And it will die once it crosses that line. So now that this one is finished, this which one is this? Faraday?
A science ship team has completed a task.
Contact.
Administrator, we have found the Piranesi signature stored in the Etemenanki's destroyed command center.
Nice.
It is a ship unlike any other in our records. A formidable opponent, now in possession of the Remus coordinates. You can implement the eventual failure of the Tiqqun's hull is inevitable. We have no other choice but to confront the Piranesi. Before we leave the system, we must find a way to develop an effective countermeasure strategy.
Thank you, Eden. While she was talking, you guys missed that. It died, like, right there. So I'm going to send the contact
Incident has occurred in the Tiqqun.
over here so we can get that going. And the unfortunate thing is here very soon is we need to go ahead and just make another one of these, but we'll have to watch some of this over here. They should be, our ships should be able to recover this as long as it's not in any of this kind of stuff. But again, once that moves, every single time you complete one of these up here, this is going to move this direction. By the time just so you understand that, it's going to end up covering everything around in the area. So I wanted to gather as much of the science as we could at this point in time so that we can come back in here and start
has arrived at its destination.
Working on the stuff for either faster movement or more Tiqqun's shielding. So we're going to go ahead and start with that research, and we're going to do that research so we can get some speed on the Tiqqun and we can get some protection on the Tiqqun. And you, yes, I should have one extra. Perfect. All right. Oh, I guess I didn't get it. Very nice. You're going to take it away from me. Cool. So now I need to go do some other things. One of the biggest things that I was going to comment on that we didn't get to talk about in just the last little bit is the massive change that they made. We need to do something here real quick. Waste recycling. Yes, please. Thank you. The massive change that they made to the resource management tab, the Stanford resource transfer. It's now way more common sense, way more simple and easy to use, and I don't know why they didn't do this in the first place. The advanced settings, the way that it was prior, so any of your settings prior are still there. You can set up how much you want as far as things go. This is all still in the area. But this makes so much more sense because it's so much more simple to understand what's actually happening. All I want to do, all I need to do is just set a number. Just check the box, set a number. So you pick a resource. So like say food, right here, food, okay? Check the box, turn the box on, drag the slider to where you think you want to keep a stock in any one of the particular rooms or the sectors, and that's where it'll stay. I don't know why that was so hard to do compared to some of the other things that exist. So in Sector 3, this is going to be our trash sector. We're going to do this, no active stockpile. Yeah, it's because we haven't built one yet because we want that stockpile to live right here. And I hope I have enough workers to run that. We're getting close. Move. let's go ahead. We have, what is it? Yeah, we can send a little bit more. 1 to Sector 3, start. This is just going to be a spare, so for right now, we'll shut it off. As soon as this gets built, we're going to start shoving all of the waste into this area here. Now, again, this place can do all kinds of really cool stuff for us and make all kinds of things. The really sad thing is I should have waited to crack all of those people out of those cryopods, because we can actually use that to that point now. So now we have to find 2,000 cryopods. We're likely going to open another sector up in this system while we're here. This sector, so far from what my testing has played with at least, is this is where you're going to spend a lot of your time doing all of this work that you're going to be doing. This is where you're going to grow in this system. So let's get that moving. Click. I did. It's right there. Thank you. And back over here. Again, super simple. Grab the slider, drag it, grab the slider. Drag it. That's all you got to do. Tell it, I don't want any in this sector, everything in this sector, instead of this. This is fine, but this is way more complicated than it needs to be for a game that is as simple as this one is. So now they'll haul all of our stuff over there, and once everybody gets moved over here, we should have enough time. Yes, how many people we have now? 170 workers. We need 136. Everybody's up and going. Cool. All right. You guys are all right now going to be making nothing but the circuits, just so that we can stack up on circuits and start building houses. The reasoning why this is important is once we get this up to a recycling center, industry tier 1, recycling tier 1, now they produce 30% more resources, and the stability penalty from waste buildup is reduced by 50%, which means instead of being a minus whatever it is, where is it? 0, -1, that means 50% means it's half of what it was before, I think, right? Yes. Anyhow, the further we go along with the recycling center, once we get to recycling tier 2, it will get even better. The reason why I'm saying this is important, the reason why I'm saying this is at this point, you can sit here and let your game run and accumulate science without touching any of these things. At that point, when you get to that point where you can run at least 3 or 4 things, because then all I have to do here, there's one more thing that I have to do, and that's going to be the thing that we're going to research next, is this wastewater treatment center. Actually, we're going to be doing some more research here. I'm going to be playing this. We're going to be eating all the ice up that's going to be in this area. But the wastewater treatment center, once you unload that, granted, it's really, really, really heavy on power. You can rip that thing out right there, stop harvesting any of the ice around, drop the wastewater treatment center in, and it will use 50 waste a cycle to fulfill the water needs of the sector that it's in. This is the best way to make food because it makes the most waste. See where we're going with this? I'm not going to completely 100% base this entire playthrough off of the waste because there's no real need to, but we are going to build a few more of these things. We can fit a couple of more in here, and again, I want to fit a couple of more. We're going to fit some of those mushroom farms in here too, because mushroom farms are a good way of making a reasonable amount of food as well. But we're going to let that roll, I think, and I think we're going to call it right there. So next time, I think we're going to do a little bit more wandering around out here. We did send a research ship over to start this process. That is going to require some time. The thing that I want to do is I want to get her moving faster because I want to bring her over here because it's a lot faster for our stuff to carry things back and forth, or the Tiqqun over there. So I'm going to be burning science on making the Tiqqun faster and stronger. Is where my next 3 or 4 things are going to go. So now she can do, well, like I said, the next one is 20, 30, whatever. Reinforced steel, we've already unlocked that one. That one requires shaping work behavior. There, Hull's deterioration while whilst moving is reduced by 20%, which is amazing. Go ahead, do that one, and then we'll go ahead and do that. Nope, 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 not that one. This one. Thank you. And then we'll just kind of work through what we got right there. And I will see you all in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.